What's going on, everyone? You are listening to Bull Central here. Hope you're all doing well. Guys, the Bulls will be taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. I'll be setting up a live chat for the game. You can also join in on our chat on the Discord page, which will be linked in the description. And I'll also try to come out with a post-game video afterwards as well. But in today's video, I wanted to talk about Patrick Williams because I feel like I've done some dedicated videos on various players on the Bulls roster, whether they be critical or praiseworthy. And the reason I wanted to talk about Patrick Williams is because I hear often from the media, fans, and analysts how they liken Patrick to Kawhi Leonard and how their play style is similar, how similar they were coming out of college. And I wanted to delve into that a bit further. Now, before we start with these comparisons, let's first start with Kawhi Leonard and the history of him coming into the league and how he rose to superstardom, because quite frankly, no one at the time when he was drafted expected him to become the player that he is today. Now, Kawhi Leonard wasn't that heavily recruited coming out of high school. He was number 48 in the top 100 high school recruits of his class, and he ended up going to San Diego State, which is a decent basketball school, but it's not like Kawhi was getting offered from Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, North Carolina, these historical basketball colleges. Now, coming into the NBA draft, it wasn't like Kawhi was completely slept on as if he was drafted in the second round or anything, but he wasn't, that highly drafted either. He didn't even make it into the lottery. He ended up going 15th to the Indiana Pacers, who eventually traded him to the Spurs. You had guys like Jimmer Fredette, Derek Williams, Enes Kanter, the Morris twins, Brandon Knight, Tristan Thompson. All of these guys were drafted before him. It really does show you how the NBA draft is a bit of a crapshoot. That's why I've never been a fan of tanking, but I'll save my thoughts on tanking for another video. Now, Kawhi Leonard was known for his defensive ability coming into the league, and not known as much for his offense, but clearly Greg Popovich saw something in him and developing him into a two-way player, as they were very eager to trade for him right when he was drafted. Now, his rookie year wasn't anything stellar. He averaged a little under 8 points per game, 5 rebounds, and a little over a steal per game. He made the all-rookie team, but he wasn't a standout by any means. Now, his second year and third year, he continued to develop and progress, improving his offense and making his defense even better than what it already was. But what really put him on the map was when he won the Finals MVP and, of course, a championship, obviously, in just his third season in the league in 2014. From there, he continued to improve year after year, and he really took off from there, winning back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year awards. He made his first All-Star game in his fifth season, averaging over 21 points per game. And from there, Kawhi went on to win another championship in Toronto. He's a 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA player, 6-time All-Defensive player. He's an amazing athlete. Let's just leave it at that. Now, what really impresses me about Kawhi is just how incredible he is on both ends of the floor and how he really developed his offensive game over the course of his career. Now, I can sit here and talk about all of the great aspects of Kawhi's game and how much of an impact he makes to his teams. He took that Toronto Raptors team. He led them to a championship when no one was expecting that to happen. And obviously, I'm hoping for the slimmest of shots at landing him in free agency this summer. I've talked about that in past videos. I think it's incredibly unlikely. He's really the only big name available at this point in time. But what I want to talk about, Patrick Williams, all of these comparisons people have been making to Kawhi. Now, Patrick was a little more highly recruited than Kawhi, but he wasn't a top 5 or even a top 10 recruit either. He was the number 29 recruit in the 2019 class. He ultimately went to Florida State, but as we all know, he came off the bench and never started a single game throughout his freshman year. Going into the draft, initially he was slated to go in sort of that late lottery range, which is around the area where Kawhi was selected. He was just one spot outside of the lottery. And then, of course, Patrick Williams' draft stock shot up like crazy a couple weeks leading up to the draft. GMs and front offices, they started taking notice of this kid and seeing the potential in him, and ultimately Arturis decided to take a swing on him at number 4. Now, it's only been 11 games into his short career in the NBA, but it is true he has been showing similarities to Kawhi in his rookie season anyway, and actually he's been a little bit better than Kawhi was to an extent, at least from an offensive standpoint. Seeing the leap that Patrick has made from his freshman season in college to now has actually been pretty substantial, and mainly in regards to his scoring ability, because he's not only shown to be a solid mid-range shooter, which people expected him coming into the NBA, but he's also proven to shoot from 3 as well, shooting 46% from 3 so far this season. And for a 19-year-old who's had to guard arguably the 3 best players in the league in Giannis, LeBron, and Kawhi all in his first few weeks, and holding his own, especially against Kawhi, that says a lot about his talent and potential on defense. Now, what I don't like about these comparisons of Patrick to Kawhi is because, one, I hate it when the media puts this kind of pressure on young players, likening them to one of the best players in the league and a future Hall of Famer. That being said, it doesn't seem to impact Patrick all that much, because you can tell he's calm, poised, and collected on the court, which, again, very similar to Kawhi's demeanor. He just means business when he's on the court, and it's not all about being flashy and showing off. He just wants to get the job done and win. Second, the other thing I don't like about it is that Kawhi is a 2-time champion, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time Finals MVP winner, 4-time All-NBA player. To compare Patrick Williams, a guy that's only played 11 games in his short NBA career, to Kawhi Leonard is just very premature in my opinion. I'm not saying Patrick can't get there. For his age and what he has shown so far, there is a lot of potential in this kid, and I'm very glad the Bulls drafted him. But he has a long, long way to go before being on Kawhi's level, which, okay, some people will probably say, well, yeah, that's obvious, but you have people calling him Baby Claw, Mini Kawhi, just 11 games into his career. I just don't think it's fair to Patrick Williams to put that pressure on him. We also need to respect the fact of who Kawhi has become as a player and not comparing him to a 19-year-old rookie. It's the same type of comparisons that people made to Michael Jordan that always bothered me, when players, were in their rookie seasons and they hadn't really proved anything, but they had glimpses of Michael Jordan. Guys like Harold Miner, if you remember him, they used to call him Baby Jordan. They said Grant Hill was going to be the next MJ, of course, Kobe Bryant as well. Or people comparing Lauri Markkanen to Dirk Nowitzki, or some even comparing him to Porzingis, or say Wendell comparing him to Al Horford, Kobe Wright to Derrick Rose. Let these players prove themselves first, and also have them be their own players in who they show up to be. We always want to compare players to each other, but at the end of the day, they all have their own unique skills and style of play. Anyway, it's just my thoughts on the whole Patrick Williams and Kawhi Leonard comparisons that have been thrown around a lot recently. I have high hopes for Patrick, and I'm really excited to see this kid develop and see what he becomes on this Bulls roster. But I'm not ready to say he's going to be the next Kawhi. It's far too early, too premature to be comparing him to a future Hall of Famer, a top 3 player in the league, in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think, though. I know a lot of Bulls fans feel this is an apt comparison, so I am open to being convinced otherwise. So let me know in the comments. As always, guys, be sure to subscribe if you're a Bulls fan and you enjoy Daily Bulls content. Thanks again for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next one.